Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I'm your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Corlin, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl. Welcome back to Lead Like a Girl. I am excited to record this evening's episode after a wonderful Mother's Day. So, of course, I am going to start off. So, we're kind of playing around with different intros. Do we do a wellness check? Do we do an icebreaker? So today, I would like to do a wellness check just to see and hear really quick how our Mother's Day went. And I'll start. My Mother's Day was actually wonderful. And let me tell you why. So I did not get a gift. I did not get flowers. I did not get chocolate. I did not get a dinner. I did not get anything. And guess what? I'm so happy about that. Let me tell you why. When people make plans, sometimes they think that the plans are like, oh, we're going to go do this. We're going to go do this. And really, I don't want to do anything. I always have to do something. I always have to be there somewhere. The feeling of not having to be anywhere was beautiful. My husband does give me really great gifts, but we've been so busy. I gave him some grace. He was like, I didn't get you anything, but guess what? If you want something, go buy it. Buy whatever you want, which was awesome because I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to take him up on that. And I'm going to buy exactly what I want. And it doesn't matter how much it costs. And I'm going to say, well, you told me to buy whatever. So it was just an amazing day for me. Listen, I want to, today's topic that I'm going to go into is actually the topic that the pastor at church. So my husband volunteered in the morning. So me and Hayden got up early. We went to church. And then I tortured the kid and made him go thrift store shopping with me, which, as you know, I love. And he was a super.
Does Hayden like thrift store shopping?
No, he hates it. The poor kid forgot it was Mother's Day. And I said to him, guess where we're going next? And he says, what? And I said, what day is it? And he's like, it's Sunday. I said, so what? He goes, oh, it's Sunday. I said, no, it's Mother's Day. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Happy Mother's Day. This is after church, okay?
Aww.
And so I said, so you know what you do on Mother's Day, right? And he goes, what? And I go, whatever your mom wants to do. And he goes, what do you want to do? And I said, thrifting, of course. And he goes, no, please don't do this to me. And I said, yeah, I'm doing it. So I went thrifting. He timed it. It was only an hour and a half. And then I went, and as you guys can see, I went and got my hair did, and I got my nails done on Saturday. And then I came home and sat out on the balcony, and I did nothing. It was a beautiful day. So that was my Mother's Day. I'm super thankful. And yeah, so that was my day. What do you guys got? Jamie.
Happy belated Mother's Day, Corlin. What did you do yesterday?
Oh man.
How was your day, Corlin?
So my Mother's Day was all right. It was okay. We ended up hosting some people over on Saturday night. So I'll say this, my husband was up super late. We had a bonfire and we did s'mores. And so Saturday night was a pretty late night. So fast forward to Sunday morning. Also, my husband is on this really huge fitness challenge and kick. And so we live maybe 2-3 miles from church. And so we had decided that we were going to walk to church on Saturday. So Mother's Day Sunday rolls around and my darling husband is still sleeping. And so I intimated this a little bit on our last episode, but so on Mother's Day, I got up and I did the dishes and I did the laundry and I fed our child and I made sure he was ready.
By the way,
and
I did that too.
My husband, right? We know. We all do it, right?
Yeah.
And so
Who didn't do that?
right.
And I can't
And
even
so
complain about it
it's-
because there's nothing else to do but that, right? It's there. You do it.
Right. It's just the way that life goes. Well, so then fast forward, we need to leave at 9:15 to get there at 10 o'clock when church. It's not even early. It's just on time. Well, my husband rolls out of bed and he is champing at the bit to get going at 9:15, and I'm still making my coffee and everything, and he's now yelling at me because we aren't getting out of the door fast enough. And I just look at him, I'm like, oh my goodness. And so needless to say, we got a little bit of a tiff.
Sunday?
A whole argument,
Oh.
and we all three of us marched down the street or when we're walking to church in silence, and I just look at him and I just give him one of those like smiles like I'm gonna murder someone on our way to church. And then fast forward, I came home and I had a giant flower arrangement for our outside patio. So he did redeem himself, but it started off really rough.
Did he order that during church, or how did he?
It's quite possible that I told him what he could buy me, and he needed to figure this out to make this day salvageable. But Jamie, how was your day? How was yours?
Yeah. So I kind of didn't have one. So Saturday we had my mom's 70th birthday party, and Mother's Day at my mom's house was Saturday. So my sister was in town from Florida. Tons of kids. We grilled out. It was great. We had a really nice time with her. And so my two older daughters who were out of the house came. I gotta throw her under the bus a little bit because my oldest daughter, Veronica, basically gave me a dead plant. She's like, it looks a little worse for the wear. I'm like,
It was in the back
I'm
seat
like,
of her
you
car
wrote me
for
a-
3 days.
It's gasping for water.
it's dead. But anyway, girl,
I will say for the record, if anybody could salvage that plant, it's you, Jamie. I feel like
Yeah.
it's a challenge. I mean, like, let's be honest.
I was totally thinking that.
that was
She
the
gave you a
only
challenge.
that wasn't the only dead plant I received this weekend. I'll just say that. And yeah, I did bring them back to life. But no, this comes from my oldest daughter, who's like super creative, an amazing artist. Like, she made me a card. It was almost like a booklet one year where she actually sewed the binding of it and everything. She's given me the greatest, most thoughtful gift. So I was really a little surprised as she showed up with this dead thing in her hand. I was like, okay. But anyway, on actual Mother's Day, on Sunday, my dad is in town. So my dad is in assisted living, and he's about 3.5 hours away from me. So it's challenging to get there because I can't stay there. So to visit him, it's 7 hours in the car, and it's just, it's life. But anyway, he's in town, and he's in not the greatest health. And anyway, I had talked to him the day before, and I said, well, why don't you come over in the afternoon tomorrow? We'll have a barbecue and we'll hang out on the patio. It's supposed to be a nice day. I'm like, I have some things to do in the morning. So just come at like 1:30 or so. So what time does my dad come? He comes over at 12:15. So I'm like, he's like, I didn't have anything to do. And I was just like, you're an hour and 15 minutes early. I'm not even, what? So,
I'm not
but
even
it was,
dressed yet.
I know. I was like, how did you even know I was home? So, but anyway, yeah. So I spent a few hours with my dad actually, which was really nice because I haven't seen him for a while. So that was and he brought me the other dead plants. So my aunt he brought me a container of dead things.
We're going to give him grace for sure, Jamie, for sure.
Right?
I know.
Dad gets A for effort on that one.
He does. Yeah. I got so many dead things on Mother's Day. I did plant them and watered them, and they were standing up straight this morning, all ready to go. So all they needed was a little moisture. But yeah, it was kind of like not really a Mother's Day for me. It was more Mother's Day for my mom, which is totally fine because I feel like I've been spoiled rotten most Mother's Days. So
Yeah.
but it was actually gorgeous. I don't know how it is in Atlanta, but we or Mankato, but man, we had just the most sunny, beautiful, warm, like best,
so nice,
beginning of spring day that you could ever want. So that alone made it a great Mother's Day, actually. So
yeah, no, same here.
I have a question for you. What's like your best? Tell me your best Mother's Day gift, because I'm gift giving is my love language. Can I ask you guys that question really quick?
So I have boys, and they've always just really sucked at gifts. Either there's nothing, or and really, if I'm being, my middle son called and asked me to borrow money on Mother's Day. That was hilarious.
To buy yourself
so-
a present.
Right? No.
Oh
No,
man,
I'm pretty
you
sure
gotta love that,
it was-
Xavier. It's awesome.
I'm pretty sure it was to buy his mother-in-law, his wife's mother, a Mother's Day gift. But I showed him grace and didn't even mention that. But so I don't have the best history outside of my husband always gives amazing gifts. I'm not a flower person, so I get them and I'm nice about it, but it's not really my thing because they just die
Sorry.
very soon in my house.
Mhm.
So but there was one year, and I don't remember if it was last year or year before, and you could see it if you go to my Instagram because I posted it. It was amazing. So Jonathan made this video. So he got all the kids, he got my nephew, the grandkids.
I remember that.
Yeah. And they made this video.
That was so good.
Talking about me. And I love the part where he did these little.
What's his name? What's his
Yeah.
name?
It was like, because I do this thing where I'm yelling at them and I'm like, John, what's your name? What's your damn name? And then they're like, Aiden. I'm like, yeah, you, that's on the. And so they mocked me doing that. And the cutest one was like my granddaughter, Layla. She's like, what's that boy's name? And yeah. That
I love
was
That's super sweet.
yeah, no,
I love that.
it was very thoughtful. It made me laugh, and laughing is one of my love languages. But just the thought, the creativity that it was good. So that's the one that stands out, and I don't think they ever could beat that one. We'll see.
That's
Cool.
really sweet. I think I kind of got out of the Mother's Day gifting because we had worked at church for so long that Mother's Day was always about a big production and church was busy and we always did a Mother's Day something or other. So I think I kind of a little bit got the never had, like we talked about, never had breakfast in bed, never did any of that thing. But one thing that my husband is a really he's a wordsmith. He knocks it out of the park with cards. So I always get a very, very thoughtful card where he goes over the top. He works on this thing like he was writing a book report, but he always writes really thoughtful things. And so I would say probably my best gifts are cards that are in a box that I save. Jamie, your bound book.
Pretty much. I mean, she made
That's
me a book.
good.
She made me that. I love like the effort. You know what I mean? And I've always said this about gifts. It doesn't matter if it costs 50 cents or $500 or $5,000. If it's the perfect gift, it's the perfect gift. Right.
Yep.
So it's anything that has that thought put into it. And, even the little, like maybe not delicious breakfast in bed that your like 4-year-old makes you or whatever. Like, I love it. It's just the effort.
Runny eggs.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of
cereal.
gifts, Jamie, is that your new sweater you're wearing?
It is. I was waiting for you to notice this. I'm wearing the sweater you gave me.
Oh,
So-
man,
Look,
that's great.
there are no holes.
Yeah, I was going to say, do we want to tell the story
intact.
on Coraline hoe shaming you?
She did.
That sounds way more aggressive than it actually is.
No, I meant, let me
I
rephrase
was
that.
whole shamed.
Right.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that. This is how rumors get started. I did not say, I did say hoe shaming, but I meant hoe shaming. And I thought that it was like
For the record, I'll just tell this quick story is that we were in our planning call and Jamie was talking with her hands like she normally does. She was super excited and probably every 5 to 7 seconds her elbow flashes the screen and Jessica's talking, they're talking back and forth and all of a sudden I interrupt the whole shebang and I just say, are we not going to address the fact that Jamie has 19 holes in her sweater? Like what is happening?
Is everything okay?
Which
Jamie's like,
do we need to get you a new
sweater?
I had it for
Clearly.
like 20 years, like forever.
it was knitted in 1969.
It was so sweet. It was so
gosh.
sweet. So long story short, we got our new
fast
sweater.
forward like a week and I get a brand new one from Jessica in the mail. So you gotta have
And
friends
look-
that call you out on your holes.
Yes. So this was a whole team effort of get Jamie a new sweater. So glad to see you're making use of that. And I hope that the other one is in the trash. So
It's in
but
the
may-
it's gone.
Oh,
She
okay,
gone.
good.
She probably repurposed it into soil.
Right.
I buried it. We had a ceremony. I really love that sweater.
Well, I want to
Moment of
jump
silence.
into this topic because this is actually one of my favorite topics, and it came up. It wasn't planned to be the conversation this evening, but it's here. And so Sunday, I got to get my little notes here. So Sunday in church, the pastor's sermon, and really he was talking about men when it comes to women. And he talked about being a door opener. And he just made reference to just how much, God loves us and God calls us to love others. And sometimes we think of, if I ask someone, so how are you loving people? How do you love others? How are you kind and loving? And we might say something like, well, I pay it forward and pay for the person's coffee in the Starbucks line, things like that. And he said, what if we were really more intentional when it comes to that? And really, in the way that he worded how he thinks about a door opener. And I then kind of thought about this in corporate America and my experience and what I try to do. And he said to create access to opportunities for people by using your power, your access, your resources, your authority to open doors and opportunities for others. And I just thought, wow, this is great because it came full circle this afternoon when I was having a conversation with a woman who heard me speak at an event. And she told me this amazing story of her career journey. But at the end of the story, it was just based on, people opening doors for her. And she talked about how now she's in this massive company and all she does is put her head down and works really hard. And she feels like, she's been doing this role for like 2 years. And she's like, I feel like I'm getting left behind. And I'm like, you are. You have to put yourself in front of the right people. And then you have to be connected with people who are willing to use their power to open doors for you. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, this sounds like that sermon from Sunday. So I think it was something that God really put on my heart to share. And I know that you ladies have to have stories about how you've experienced this in this big company. I've experienced this from day one, as I told the story about coming into the company because of the twin brother of, my Scottie Pippen was, opening that opening that door for me. And since I've been here, it's been done over and over again. And all it's done is really made me want to do it more. How can I first I'm trying to rise up this ladder to get more power, but God knows it's not for me. I know the more power I have, the more resources that I have, that's going to allow me to open more doors for others. So I'd love to hear whoever wants to go first. I'd love to hear about a door that was open for you and what that looked like.
Core, mine's pretty short. Do you care if I go first, actually?
You go right ahead.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Yeah. Thanks. Jessica brought this up earlier today, and I had a certain idea in my head of what I would talk about. And then as she was explaining a few things, just tonight, it another story popped into my head. And this has to do with me being, so when I relocated to Iowa from North Carolina, I interviewed with several companies. And one of the things that I have always tried to keep in mind when interviewing, when working, when talking with my managers, whatever it is to be really transparent on my goals, but also just very honest. Like, here's where I'm at. Here's how I feel about this position, whatever it is. So I'd interviewed with someone and really liked her, really liked the company, but ultimately, we got along great. I ultimately decided to take a different position. and someone here in my local community. So fast forward a year, she reached out to me again and said, "Hey, I just wanted to check back in with you because, I know you declined on this role, but just wondering how you're doing right now with this new position." And at the time, I said, I'm really happy with it. It's going well. I thank you for your follow up. Thanks for just keeping connected with me. Anyway, fast forward a few more years, and she called me and said, "I have some colleagues in a certain company that I think would be it would be a great role for you. Are you at all interested in interviewing with this company that I, referred me to?" I was really flattered because I thought, first of all, she remembered me, but then secondly, like she at least had enough confidence in my skills to offer to connect me with somebody else. So at the time I said, you know what, it never hurts to have that chat. So I interviewed with this company, and it was really the catalyst for me to start considering, hey, maybe it is time to move. Maybe it is time to start looking at what else is out there. I ended up actually declining that position. Well, no. I'm going to back that up a little bit. That the particular position that they had available was a little bit more of a customer service role rather than a executive salesperson role. So it really wasn't quite the right fit. So I misspoke when I said declined. It was more like it just wasn't the right fit. But anyway, regardless of that, I'll forever be thankful for that door that got opened, because that led me to where I'm at today, which is a position I'm very happy with. But it also, again, very flattered that somebody would remember me enough to refer me to their colleagues. So that same company, like I said, I didn't take the position, but they've contacted me since then with other positions that they have available that would match my skill set a little bit better. So quick, short story, but I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful that I was able to be put into a place where I could be my authentic, honest self with these people, very strong women who respected that and appreciated that from me as well. So that's my door opening story. And it really makes me want to be able to connect people that I meet with people that could help them move farther with their goals and in their lives.
Absolutely. And listen, there was 2 takeaways that I heard in that story. And the first one is a mistake that I made once upon a time, where someone came to me, same thing, brought a position to my attention. And I said, "No, I'm good. Actually, and I later learned from a mentor, he said to me, "Do not ever do that." If you had an impact on someone where they thought highly enough of you to come to you and bring something to your attention, and like in this example, they spoke on your behalf, you have to look at it. Doesn't mean you have to take it, but you have to look at it. You have to go through that process. You have to consider it and then decline if it doesn't work for you. So I want to put that out there because that was a lesson learned for me. And when I have these type of conversations, there's a lot of people who are loyal and they feel the same way, that they haven't learned that lesson. So that's a good takeaway in your story. And then always look for people. If you look for people and build relationships, the jobs will find you. And that's another takeaway based on your story that I love too. So I know we have a few minutes left. Corlin, I know you got one. Because listen, and this is when you tell your story about your career. I was joking the other night. I was telling Will, I was like, Corlin, she has been pretty fortunate. When she tells her early year stories, it's always, well, so-and-so, I think it was my grandmother that sent me to speak to this person, and then my mom got this. So doors have been being opened for you. So I know you got a good door opening story for us, Cor.
You're right. I never really thought of those 2 things as door open stories, but that definitely, that was a wide open walk through the door.
Hey, favor
thank you,
ain't
Grandma,
fair.
for that.
Favor ain't fair.
Right. When we were talking about this is probably the big story of mine that jumped out to me at this is that I shared with you that I was working at a company, a big manufacturing company, working in sales. But one of the things that I really loved about the company is when I had met the owner of this company, his vision, mission values to serve other people, have outreach, and give back. And so one of the things that I was a part of while I was working in the sales is we kind of had a little small group that we were working a little bit of a side hustle internally where we were trying to bring different volunteer initiatives and different opportunities to our company. And so we were working on this, and one day the owner of the company had come to us, and he'd actually just asked us. He said, what if we could ramp this up and really turn this on its head and really go with this? Well, without getting too much into that story, I had realized that what he was asking was almost kind of a full-time job, to oversee all of the volunteering and all of the employee engagement initiatives that he wanted to do. And so I was really excited about this. And so I took the I took the initiative, and I just thought, you know what? I want to do this full time. And so I wrote up a job description of what this role would look like and what it could be. And without getting into all the details, I sent it up to our leadership level. And unfortunately, they liked the idea, but it was kind of we're not ready for this yet. And so I was still working in my sales role. Well, unbeknownst to me, the owner of our previous company had reached out to me and was really hardcore pursuing me for a sales role, which was great. It was going to be working with her in a capacity, but it was the thing is that it was going to be an out-of-state job, and I really wasn't sure about this role, but I, to your advice, took it and I interviewed with the company. Well, I reached for the stars, ended up doing pretty well in the interview, so much so as that I had asked for a salary that was large, covered my husband's salary and whatnot. And
I
ended up
remember
offering
that.
me the role
Mhm.
yeah, it ended up offering me the role. And so I had a little bit of predicament that I love my company we're at. I really wanted to pursue this outreach and engagement position, but they just were not ready to jump on it. And so I was ready to leave the company. So my door open story, all this to be leading up to, is that a coworker of mine, I had shared with them in confidence that all this was happening. I wasn't really pursuing another job. It had just kind of fallen into my lap. Well, he had a little bit of a vision. And so he ended up calling the CEO of the company, who I learned later on had never really seen my job description or my idea. He was out of the country. He was ironically, he was dedicating a well that he had just built through an organization. So he was in the middle of India doing that. And this guy that I worked with, this coworker of mine, reached out to him, and he just said, you know what? Not sure if I'm going to get in trouble for this or not, but I just want you to know that Cora Lynn has been pursued by another company. She got a really good offer, and she's really considering leaving the company. I don't know if you heard about this, but I think that if you want to take this company and this outreach initiative where you want to go, you should talk to her. Well, fast forward a day or two, I get a phone call from the CEO of the company saying, "What's this I hear about you leaving?" And I just thought, I was just a little bit starstruck, but I also I was just really surprised that he had called. And so I had shared with him, I wrote up this job description, and I understand that that the company wasn't ready to move in that direction. And he said, I'm not exactly sure what job description you're talking about. I've never saw it. Can you send it over to me and I will review it and see? And so fast forward, he ends up reading the job description, coming back to me, loves all the ideas that I had, offered me this role that I'd put it out for. But I will say, this giant door that was open, that this coworker of mine stuck his neck out for me,
Mhm.
not knowing how it was going to play out. And to this day, I have the same role and been able to have experiences and build a program and an initiative that I would never, ever had the opportunity had he not stepped up for me and went out of his way to be an advocate for me and the vision that we were about to create. So that was a giant door that was open for me. Absolutely.
Yeah. And listen, if we took 500 women in a room and we talked about similar stories, I'm here to tell you that more times than not, these stories would have a male, and if I'm being real, a white male involved in the story. That's why this is really, really important that the pastor was really saying this sermon to men. And it's the same thing in your communities in corporate America. And to your point on a few episodes, we are not men bashers. Jamie did say that one episode, though she was joking. But no, we understand. I have to remind people all the time, listen, I may be a strong woman. I might speak louder than my husband at times, but I am no fool. And I know that God still called him to lead my household and for me to be his helper. That still connects up here. So I just think it's a great conversation, and it's definitely probably something that we can circle back to. Doesn't mean we can't be impactful, right? Doesn't mean we can't be door openers as women. And as we continue our success, I know we all share that burden of saying, hey, where are women that we can help, that we can impact, that we can open doors, that we can use our power, our resources, and our influence to be able to give them opportunities that maybe otherwise they wouldn't have. So on that note, we'll just let it go here, ladies. Thank you so much. And until next time, we are out.
Bye, girls.